Hello, I'm Dale Howie, the Crazy Green Landlord. As both a landlord and a concerned global citizen, I am committed to reducing my carbon footprint and my impact on the planet wherever I can. Welcome to another program in a series of our podcast. I'm joined in the studio today by Pavel Ihnatovich from GS Motors in Hopkins, Minnesota. In this episode, we'll be discussing the changing marketplace and growing demand for electric vehicles here in Minnesota. Welcome, Pavel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
It's nice to have been had. I have been driving electric vehicles personally for 15 years. I have 2 at home and 5 in my fleet for my business. I also offer incentives for my tenants, free power and free parking, which can be substantial, so over $200.
Free charging, right?
A month.
That's impressive.
And that's without any special considerations from Excel yet. So I've got to build that in. Anyway, how has EV technology changed over the last couple of years?
Oh, it did change a lot. So over the 8 years that I've been in EV business, I've seen a huge change in a matter of a few years, yes. When I started, I was selling off-lease Nissan Leafs with 84 miles range or Fiat 500e with 84 miles range. Within 3-4 years, we got to the point where we have 200 plus, 300 plus miles range, charging speed much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Some cars can do, like Tesla or Hyundai or Kia, they're 20, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can really travel, no problem.
Oh, yeah. I'm very familiar. We traveled to Canada. We've gone cross-country in our X.
Yeah.
We have a Tesla. We sold that and got a Tesla Y. But a lot of those vehicles, the early vehicles you were talking about, had 70, 80 mile range when you bought them. I still have a 2013, and that's got 120,000 miles on it. It still has still has a 70 mile range on it, depending on obviously on how cold it is. Yeah. But what are they doing with the old batteries? What's the recycling like on those?
From what I've seen so far, and I'm obviously not an expert in recycling, battery recycling, but it started off, number one was people would buy EV batteries from junkyards to replace their EV battery. That's number one, recycling for like an early stage. Okay, for parts. Sometimes you need to just disassemble the battery, replace one module, and it's all fixed. Then I noticed some of the companies on the West Coast, they were buying those used battery packs of junkyards, whatever. They've been doing solar storage.
Yeah, the batteries have what, 70%? When they're done with a car, they have 70% of their volume left.
Depends. It can be 30%. Doesn't matter. It's still a lot of power for the house. That's enough for a few days, Mm-hmm. So solar storage. Now we're getting kind of into the next stage where they actually getting older. Have you heard of Redwood Company?
No, I haven't. What do they do?
The CEO used to work in Tesla
Mm-hmm.
with batteries. So he started the EV battery recycling company. They are in Nevada. They raised a lot of money. They did raise like hundreds of millions, I think.
I think Tesla is up to, they said 98% of their battery is recyclable and reclaimable. But the battery is like the most expensive part. And what we've really seen is an interesting move in the lithium market and battery costs in the last couple of years. What are you seeing?
Well, overall, in general, yes, it's going down because you're just looking at the prices of the new cars. They're driven by not just by the lithium, of course, but that's an essential part. So cars are getting cheaper. That means they can make the batteries cheaper and cheaper. We're still in the early stages of EVs. They keep changing. They improve the battery chemistry. They're trying to go away from some of the metals, they're going into the right direction. The goal is, so number one issue was always range. So they don't have enough range.
Right.
They fixed it.
Yeah.
Okay. They improved it. Imagine Nissan Leaf. Take the one that you have, 2013. It's a 24 kilowatt hour battery. When it was new, it would do 84 miles per charge. Now the new one, the 62, like the newer one, it can do about 220 on average. But the battery pack is the same size. It's about the same weight.
So there's some interesting things coming up on the chemistry, like
There's a lot of things
like
coming.
lithium sulfur batteries.
There is a lot. Yeah,
lithium sulfur ion batteries with a 10-minute charge with 1,000 miles of range.
Yeah.
So there's
But
just leaps and bounds.
that's a little bit of a longer run, you know, until it comes to life. It's gonna be some years. But now, look, going back to where we were. So the range was fixed, pretty much. Then it was charging time, you know, too long to charge. So they did the DC quick charging. That was still pretty slow. And then they started improving that. Now we have ultra fast DC charging.
Right.
20, 30 minutes, well, depending on the car, but some cars already can do it.
So I really want to touch base too on what I'm hearing. Like you're selling electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is I'm telling people, go talk to Pavel. He's got all these different options on from auctions or whatever that he can get you into, what car you want. You find out what car you want, and he can, look for a price in your range.
Like, today I have one of your tenants is coming.
Cool.
The guy the person we spoke about.
Oh, okay. I know who we're talking about. We won't name names. Yeah. We don't want to divulge.
Yeah.
So the other thing is I'm hearing from, like when I talk to tenants, it blows me away how much mental gymnastics they have to do to not do anything, to not burn. For me, when I saw the oil coming out of the Gulf of Mexico in 2004, I was done. I was mentally checked out of fossil fuels. I'm like, I got to get off this stuff. And so I haven't burned gas since 2011 in my cars. So I just, for me, it's a spiritual exercise to get off that stuff because I'm looking past my lifetime on what we're leaving our kids. So I hear people say, oh, I want to get up to my cabin up north, so I'm not going to buy an electric car. There's no way you're going to get me an electric car. And I'm like, we're kind of looking at our mess we've made. We have to get out the mop and shut off the tap, or it's not going to get any better. So where we're at right now, we're looking at 30 years more of damage coming back on us in how long the Earth takes to react to our activities and the changing chemistry and everything else. So we're just getting started on seeing the damage, and it's already massive. So on the cost side of things, one of the things is, I keep hearing this too, is that people say they're too expensive. When I put people in my car and I say, you can get this now for under $10,000 with the rebate, easily, a Chevy Bolt, for instance, or a Nissan Leaf, and with no maintenance and no gas and no oil changes and minimal cost for fuel, where do you see people's resistance mainly? I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
Number one thing is people don't know. There is a thing flying around saying, hey, EVs are expensive. That's what they think. And I've been to numerous events, like ride and drive events. Like I would go there and I would give test drives to people. And and that's just an example. There was once Excel Energy. So it was right in downtown Minneapolis. Everyone brought the most expensive cars. And I brought a used Fiat 500e. And nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody. I was just standing like for half hour, like, what am I doing here? And then I was like, let me try this. So I found a bigger sheet of paper, wrote down $10,000, put it on a windshield. And I was the most popular guy there. Because they have no clue. Seriously, people overall, they think they're very expensive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, all of my cars I bought, except the Tesla, were under $15,000.
There are market conditions. So like for now, like at this moment right now, the market is pretty much normalized because we've been for a few years, the COVID times, we've been like car business, all cars, doesn't matter, EVs, gas, diesel. There was a huge shortage, so there was no inventory. There was very low inventory. I was struggling. Everyone was struggling to get cars. Like they were selling really well.
So with the supply demand issue, the prices shot up.
Prices were like a lot of cars were sold over sticker. Used cars were sold over the new car sticker. Took time for this to go down. It started when Feds raised up the rates. all of a sudden the loans got very expensive because they were like 3% for a long time. The prices started going down. Took about a year. Now we are in much better market situation, like in the favor of buyer, but it's not a buyer's market still. It's just normal market. It used to be seller's market for a long time.
But it's still the cost differential between gas cars and electric cars. It's what I've seen for the cost of the vehicle over the life of the vehicle, including battery, any maintenance or whatever, is a third. Is 30% the cost of a gas vehicle.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize that an electric car has 6 to 20 moving parts from the battery to the wheels. And then gas cars, look it up on Wikipedia, 10 to 14,000. 8 to 1,200 parts just in the transmission alone.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science to figure out which one you're going to be fixing or whatever. And then of course you have the oil changes, and if you're doing the maintenance, oil changes, brakes, all that. You don't have to worry about brakes on a Chevy Bolt because it's one pedal braking. The electric motor brakes when you let off.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference in your everyday costs. Gas cars, you pay and pay and pay.
Well, but that's the loan strategical thinking. We're talking right now. We're talking about, purchase a car. So that's number one thing. So a person has to purchase it. So the price has to be right. So look, the price came down. Now since last year, we have rebates or credits. So there's credit from IRS.
Yeah,
So
the Biden infrastructure bill, the Inflation Reduction
part of it. Yeah,
Act.
Yeah, part of it. So for the used EVs, there is up to $4,000 tax credit. And there are some limitations on income and stuff, but it's very accessible to a lot of people because I'm looking at my sales. I look how many people out of total get that. So it's up to $4,000. Then
for a used vehicle.
For a used car, yeah.
And that's
just
point of
talking
sale.
about
They get it at point of sale.
Well, this
correct?
year, yeah. This year it started at point of sale. That last year it was just like when you do taxes.
So
they
they don't have to wait to get that rebate.
Yeah, you get the discount
away.
right away off the total after taxes and and fees. So there is also another one from the state of Minnesota. There is $600.
That one you do have to wait for. That one is, I think they changed it, didn't they?
Well, it's not a point of sale. Yeah, you got to apply. I'm not sure what they're going to do because now dealers have nothing to do with this. So I just not sure. I know on their website there is apply.
Yeah.
So.
Form 99K with the IRS. That's where you do that. Just FYI.
And
just do a shout out.
The car has to be 2 years or older. So 2022 model this year.
And there are model restrictions too, aren't there?
No, not for used. For used, there's only restriction is the year and the price of the car. So it has to be 25 or less.
Right. And income, is there an income?
Yes. Income, that's consumer side. So
to find out about these rebates, I believe the website is rewiringamerica.org. And that is for everything. They can find out. Well, that's the official website for finding out about all the rebates with the Inflation Reduction
That's
Act.
for all. Yeah, maybe to find everything that's available. Right. But talking about the biggest one, the tax credit, IRS tax credit, just go to irs.gov. It's super easy.
Okay.
There's another one for Minnesota, for MnDOT, the Easy Pass. Up to $250 credit.
Wow.
That's really nice for people that use those lanes.
So what's your sense with all this stuff coming at us right now? What's your sense about the future of electric cars? I mean, for me personally, I think we can't go any other way. I mean, we're not going to start. I'm hoping we don't start burning more fossil fuel.
It's
really putting the nail in the coffin of humanity.
It's got a big future. It's not going to be as quick as they wish, but it's going to take some time because the technology has to evolve, infrastructure has to evolve, charging infrastructure, the grid. So there's a lot of things.
There's some growing pains right now.
Yeah, but the way big guys are investing in this, and big guys I'm talking car makers, they're going for it. It's not.
But you think that Ford pulling back on its investments and some of the other car makers downgrading their production numbers, you don't think that's just a bump in the road?
Well, We'll see how it goes with Ford, because I'm not sure if they were if they did the right move with Lightning,
Hmm.
because what did they had before? They had Ford Focus that was just, well, I mean, it's an okay car, but it's far from
It
others.
was garbage.
Yeah, it's and then, well, Mach E, they came out with Mustang Mach E. That's a
Mhm.
pretty nice car, actually.
I've heard a lot of great things about that
That's
car.
legit. And then instead of doing something like an improved Focus, like a Chevy Bolt, let's say Type, or a
Mhm.
Nissan Leaf, say they're going for the pickup truck. And then that pickup truck, they started selling it at, I don't remember the numbers. It was so low. It was like ridiculous. It was 40 or something in 40-ish, neighborhood.
Mhm.
People were getting them, reselling for $100,000 right away.
Wow.
So it wasn't really an electric car to use. It was electric car to make money.
Yeah.
So
See, I keep having them call me, Ford, to try to
Ford-
sell me a Ford Lightning and
now they have them in stock,
Rivian or
and
whatever.
now they're way more expensive, of course, because that price was unrealistic. It's a
But
big truck.
what I want to say is, like, I have a Chevy Bolt, and people don't know it's rated for 1 ton.
Yeah,
It's rated for 1 ton, and I use that thing more than I ever used a truck. So I keep thinking maybe I should get a truck. And I mean, I could do anything I want with my Bolt. I can put an 11-foot extension ladder and shut the back. I mean, that thing is a beast.
Well,
I
they
I
have the
mean,
torque. Yeah, they can
yeah.
pull. They can pull. Yeah, you just lose the range, but then you can, like, for what you're doing with all your buildings in one city, pretty much. That's why
It's
not?
perfect.
Why
Yeah,
not?
exactly. I mean,
Saving money.
with a 240-mile range, and then it doesn't cost me anything because I have everything on solar.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and you have your own charging infrastructure.
Yep.
I want to tell you another thing,
Okay.
real quick though. Look at China. How is their EV market evolving? It's growing. It's the biggest now in the world,
Mhm.
and they're growing really fast. So that's another indicator that this is going in the right direction.
Right.
It's not like we have a couple of models and the early adopters driving. No, it's going in. It's gonna take time, but yeah.
Yeah, and so people say, "Are they good in the winter?" It's like, oh, that's all about snow tires.
Oh,
I mean, it's
they're so good in winter.
you
It's
push a button and
unbelievable.
they're on. You don't have to wonder if they're
Yeah.
going to start. There's a million things that have to happen when
They
a
warm up
gas
much
car
faster.
starts in the winter.
It's all about, like, in winters like we have. Some people still don't understand it, but it's all about the tires. If you put nice tires,
Yep.
or if you swap like you do, I see you have Blizzaks on your Bolt. If you swap tires for seasons, this is the best car ever to drive in winter because it's heavy.
Yep.
You get that grip, and
It's all
It goes through
it's
the
all
snow.
low. It's the low center of gravity
Yeah.
because the battery is underneath the
Mhm.
floorboards,
Yeah.
so it handles amazing. I mean,
yes.
And so today we've got this huge array of all these different cars where they're really, the excuses are running out why people should not be driving an electric car. It's more of for me, and like, why aren't you driving an electric car yet? Because the tools are there.
I talk to a lot of people, and sometimes I have to talk them out of that. Honestly, I have to, because number one thing is charging infrastructure. So you have to be able to charge your car at home. So yeah, if you can charge your car at home or where you live, you're fine. That's how you got to do it. Or at work, there are some exceptions. Yes, there's some people have just charging at work. That works awesome.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, I was speaking for Jamie Long in the House of Representatives. Like, I think it was a year or two ago. He was about the new building code for the multifamily, not for no for the like the multifamily and commercial dwellings.
Mhm.
So
Isn't that-
there will
is
be
that-
charging available
Yeah.
now. So they voted yes for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm
'Cause
going
that's a
back
big
and
problem.
I'm converting 100-year-old buildings. I'm
Yeah.
installing charge stations.
Yeah, but at a lot of places there's not even 110
Mhm.
available. So, and a lot of people do live in apartments. That's your business.
Right.
There's a lot of people, like, especially like with you, like what you're doing is amazing, and I wish more companies would be willing to do at least 10% of what you're doing. But especially in terms of charging. So that's number one thing about the cost of the car. The value, to buy it, they're pretty accessible.
So what is the cost for like a range vehicle over 200 miles? Because that seems to be
Yeah.
where people like they always want more, but for an affordable
I'd say
car
right
over 200
now
miles,
not the sweet spot, the realistic price range would be within between $17,000 to $25,000. It really depends on like the 17 closer, like the under 20. That would be those older Chevy Bolts,
right?
but they have the good thing about them that most of them have new batteries under the recall.
And those are good for 100,000 miles, 10-year
100,000
warranty.
miles, 8-year warranty.
And that's easy to look up. They can just look at the VIN number, go to GM, look at the VIN number,
Yeah,
and they
their
can tell
website,
exactly when
It's on
when
the
the battery
website.
was changed. Just
Those would be the short range cars. They'll be under 10,000, and but it's a short range car,
Yeah,
so it's not
but-
like the mainstream where you want to be 200 plus miles.
but the average American again travels 32 miles a day.
Yeah,
That's the average. So people are buying a 500
those
mile range.
those cheaper cars under 10, they go fast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people looking out for them. I don't see problem with them at all. But that's the mainstream kind of thing. That's we're talking. It's between 17 to 25. That's where the tax credits and rebates help a lot. And
Yeah, I mean, if you got a gas car and you want to keep that for travel, if you can afford it, just get the $5,000 to $10,000 short range vehicle for running around town that does 90% of your driving. And even then, if you go,
another thing is, look, it's a perfect second family car. Like there's no ways around it. Any family can get a second car that's electric. It will do the job. And I'm talking, of course, if there is charging available. A lot of people, they live a few miles away from work. That's where a short range EV works just fine or perfect. And that's when the 110 is just, you don't have to spend money for the charging station.
yeah, all these cars come with a 110 220 cable.
Yeah.
So adapter.
Yes.
So just want to clear that one up right now. What are other objections people have to getting into EVs? So you've got range anxiety, you've got charging infrastructure, you've got initial cost, you've got maybe
initial cost. No more. Seriously, no more. The prices are really nice. They're not above like average car price. No, not a problem anymore. Seriously.
Well, one objection I heard is where the materials are sourced from. They're worried about the battery, the toxicity of the battery.
Yeah.
And we visited that a little bit earlier, but these are still the what people are hearing, the misinformation that's out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Yeah, but like I said before too, this whole EV battery technology is improving. It's
Rapidly.
much better than it used to be 5 years ago. It will be much better a few years from now. So
everybody
some
should,
of those materials will be out of there.
So everybody should just wait and not buy an electric car now and just wait another 5 or 10 years.
Well, believe me, there are some people like that.
I know.
Especially the ones that waited for Fisker. They just want a cheap car. That's it.
So all I can say is, for me, it's do whatever you can to get off of gas. Get off your gas, people.
Yeah, do the move.
Because we're seeing a lot of pain come on, and I mean, people don't realize that less than 30% of the planet has air conditioning. Lions and tigers and bears don't have AC.
Yeah.
And so we're causing a lot of damage to the living things around us, to our fellow human beings who aren't as privileged as people in the United States who have air conditioning. We really have to get into a systems approach for the whole planet, and and part of that, and it's an interim step, is getting off of gas any way you can. And if that means buying an electric car, go do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know Robert Sassone, that kid that invented that electric motor that doesn't require magnets?
Mm-mm. I don't know.
Oh, really? A 17-year-old kid in Florida last year invented an electric motor that requires no magnets. That's over 100 different precious earth minerals. And I understood that that Tesla canceled a lot of its long-term contracts and that he's working for Tesla now.
Ah.
Hearsay. I'd like to find out what's going on with him, but yeah, I hope he.
Well, like I said, there is a lot of things going on there in research, a lot of things that we don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
But the amounts of investments in there are huge because there is a big future for this.
Yeah.
And
the funny thing is this kid did it after school part-time, engineered this new electric motor and won a $75,000 STEM prize for his innovation.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
really cool.
So on that note, we're going to call it in. Pavel, thanks for coming today and talking
Thanks
to us
for
about
having me
electric
here.
cars.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm always learning something new when I have a conversation with you. So if you are wanting to get into a new or used EV, contact Pavel at GS Motors in Hopkins, Minnesota. They are there to answer any questions and help you find the right car for you. We need to start making big changes in the way we drive and use energy if we are to avoid burning up the planet for our children's sake. Thanks for listening. This has been Crazy Green Podcast. See you next time. Go Crazy Green.